Swain Event, fueled by Daddy and Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. And now we are joined by the one, the only, Austin Price of VolQuest.com. And I'm not going to waste any time with you, Austin. I ain't playing around with you today, Austin. I ain't playing around at all. We are getting straight to it, Austin. First, good morning, sir. How you doing?
I'm great, Jason. How are you?
All right, good. I'm good. Anyways, Walter Nolan, top 3, Tennessee, Texas A&M, and Georgia. I don't like this. I don't like this. I like it, but I don't like it. I like it, but I don't like it.
I mean, it's basically the same top 3. Just replace Florida with Georgia.
Yeah,
I mean, is Georgia any more formidable than Florida? I mean, my thing is like when everybody was like, and I joke with Mark Packer all the time. Like, I'm like, Mark, you pick a random recruit, get your feelings all in it, and then you like ride this emotional wave. He's like, Final 3, Florida A&M and Tennessee, and I was like, that's not the Final 3. That's the Final 3 until it's not the Final 3. Like, here we are a week and a half later, and you've got a new Final 3. I mean, like, and it won't surprise me again if there's another Final 3. The one constant though has been Tennessee. At this point, I think it's Tennessee and Texas A&M at the top. Georgia's trying to wedge their way in. But I think that the Aggies, as of right now, are the biggest threat to Tennessee for Walter Nolan. But right now, at least the last few lists for Walter, Tennessee's been the constant there. I mean, you go back, Tennessee didn't make the top 10. Then when he put out the top 5, Texas A&M wasn't in the top 5. Then they both were in the top 3. Florida was once thought to be the pick after he officially visited there, and now they're quote out. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's going to be lots of twists and turns. The Skittles sign in December. December can't get here soon enough. But before December, we have Hal at Maryville coming up this Thursday on Rivalry Thursday. Swain, you'll be there doing Rivalry Thursday on the radio. Of course, Mark Packer and I will have the call. So it's a good opportunity for all the Vol fans to watch Walter Nolan if they're in the Knoxville area or if they're not in the Knoxville area. And we know you have a lot of listeners from other states because I saw them at the Dead End Barbecue for the recruiting thing a few years ago, and they can watch at rivalrythursday.com. Or
seemed like your game improved as the night went on, got stronger and stronger, and made a couple
download
towards the end.
The Diamond Clear Media app.
It really just
and they can watch it on there. Like
how
if you
to
have an
stop
Apple
them
TV,
from
you can download
everybody
Diamond
gonna
Clear
play
Media,
dirty.
and you can watch the Pal Maryville game.
I mean, going against somebody bigger than me, and I was on the offensive line, I'll probably play dirty too. So it's just being able, me having to learn how to prevail from them, just working.
Not doing that. What is your understanding of where Tennessee currently is in regards to a potential postseason bowl ban?
Well, I thought for the longest time they would self-impose 1 year. But the longer this thing's played out, the more you've got, the NCAA president making comments like, NCAA needs to take a step back and not be involved in such things and stuff. The more I've continued to hear, Tennessee may just play the long game here and not self-impose anything and just see what happens. I mean, I don't think that hurts. I mean, look how long it took them to rule on Baylor. I mean, that was 6 years ago. What's this football program? What's Tennessee athletics look like in 6 years? Not even if it's 4 years. I mean, it's a long time down the road. So I'm not sure that they're inclined to do anything. I always thought they would, but the more people I've talked to here lately, the more it kind of gets the feel that, it won't be the case.
As a quick follow-up, is there anything to Danny White, Donnie Plowman, both making an appearance on Vol Calls tonight, or is that just coincidental because it's the first Vol Calls of the season?
I think it's just because it's the first Vol Calls of the season. I've heard nothing to believe that, they're going to make some kind of announcement. I mean, who knows? Maybe they do. But I don't think that's the case. I mean, Danny was on The Nation with Chris Lowe and myself a couple of weeks ago and said he got his hand slapped for even talking about the investigation at the Rotary Club. So he declined to comment when he was on The Nation because I asked him specifically, with the president of the NCAA coming out and saying this? Does it give you all pause to, kind of slow things down or, change how you may want to self-impose or whatever? And he declined comment because of he got his, quote, hand slapped.
AP, going back to this game tomorrow, Rivalry Thursday, Walter Nolan's not the only player that Tennessee's looking at. Obviously, he is the number one player in the country, and everyone's looking at him. But there's SEC quality players that will be playing in this matchup between Powell and Maryville. Who are some of those players?
Well, I mean, you've got the receivers at Powell. Aiden Green did not have a catch last week. I'd expect him to be more back to his old self by tomorrow night. You've got other guys that I think are Power 5 top players. Even at Maryville, you got Markel Fortenberry, who I think, he's committed to Liberty, but I think, over the course of this fall is someone that Power 5 schools are going to come back in on because I think he'll continue to have a really good senior season. And, Adarius Bowman, or Redmond, Adarius Bowman, he's from Chattanooga about 20 years
That's
ago.
old school right there, man. That's my class.
Adarius Redmond, he had a solid game a week ago. Is someone who got a lot of offers as a freshman, didn't do a whole lot as a sophomore, but now as a junior is trying to rebound. There'll be college level talent on that field tomorrow night, but all eyes are going to be on big number 99.
Austin, in regards to Tennessee's defensive front, what do you think we'll see in terms of personnel? Do you think it's going to be 3 legitimate defensive linemen, 4 legitimate defensive linemen, or do you think we see Roman Harrison, Byron Young, opposite of one another with Tyler Barron maybe slid in just to kind of get those 3 on the field? What is your thought process there?
Well, I think Tennessee's going to play a lot of bodies on the defensive front, and there'll be times where Byron Young's got his hand on the ground. There'll be times where he doesn't. Same thing with Roman Harrison. You're right. Tyler Barron's bigger than they are. So, it seems more natural for him to, play like a strong side defensive end position. But, he's also going to play standing up at times too. And then you are going to rotate, the Matthew Butlers, the Latrell Bumpus, all the defensive linemen. Caleb Tremblay gets better by the day. And so, he kind of had a little bit of a hiccup, at the start of fall, or fall camp. But he's getting better by the day. And then same thing with DJ Terry. So you're going to continue to see, I think, a pretty healthy rotation of defensive linemen for Tennessee and Rodney Gardner.
Have you heard anything about Karat Garland or Aubrey Solomon throughout camp and how that's been going for them? I mean, do you expect them to play a role? It seemed like Pruitt's staff was somewhat high on Karat, and we obviously know Aubrey's story. Do you think those guys will factor into the rotation?
Potentially. I've not heard a whole lot about them. Aubrey Solomon looks way better. Last year he was way overweight. And then when you look at Aubrey Solomon and Darnell Wright, like the strength coach who, for the first time ever, I think media has kind of downplayed Kurt Schmidt and the strength program. Because, forever it's like, new strength coach, It's like, okay, enough about the strength coaches. And these guys just kind of quietly went in there and I think done a really nice job with those players. Because, you look at Darnell Wright, you look at Aubrey Solomon, 2 guys that a year ago were way, way, way overweight. And they look really good right now. You see Solomon leave the complex or see Darnell at practice, and, they look the part. And they no longer look overweight. They look like they're in really good shape. And so a lot of it with Aubrey, I think, is just motivation. How much does he love the game and how motivated is he? When he's motivated, I think he can definitely help this football team. And then Karat Garland, I just hadn't heard a whole lot about him. You're right. He played a healthy amount under the old staff, but hadn't heard a whole lot about him. That don't mean he's not going to be a factor here. I just don't hear much about him.
Austin Price, VolQuest.com. I'm a little concerned about the wide receiver group. A couple guys are dealing with some nagging issues, and you have a group that's unproven. You have a group that's young, and they're going to be asked to play in a different way than what they came to Tennessee to play. So some of the nagging things that are bothering Velus Jones and Callaway. What's the status on those guys?
Well, I get the concern. You look at Tennessee's experience, and like a guy like Velus Jones, he had 20-something catches a year ago, but he's got experience. He's Tennessee's kick returner. I think they'll be fine for the first game, but I understand, like, you want to get Jimmy Callaway back as quickly as you can. And I know he's, just days away from being back. And, Velus Jones is kind of, I think they've protected him some, just because, I think they know that if he understands the offense, that he doesn't have to have those practices. If he did, that'd be great. But I don't think he has to have it to be a factor on this football team. And so, with the hamstring, a little tender, better to just protect him, get that thing healthy, and that way he's good to go. But, yeah, I'm with you. I understand, some of these wide receivers just don't have a ton of experience, so they can use every rep they can get in practice.
Austin, if you were Josh Heupel, which position unit would you be most confident in going into the opener, and which one would you be most concerned about?
You talking about on the other side of the ball, Ben?
Yes.
I would go running back, confidence-wise. I just think that they've got 3 really good ones. And then not confident in, I'd probably go linebackers. I know they feel much better than what they felt in the spring, but, I feel it's kind of, prove it to me. You know what I mean? Let's see you guys out there in action and see what happens.
How close do you think Heupel is to a starting quarterback being named, or do you think that we just enter next Thursday and they'll just announce it the day of, and that's how we'll find out?
Well, I think that you'll find out over the loudspeaker in the I don't think they're going to announce it. I always thought they would, but I thought if they were going to do it, it was going to happen this past Monday, so a couple of days ago. And when that didn't happen, and he tried to parlay it as, nobody separated and stuff, then, it is what it is. If Joe Milton don't go out there for the first snap, I'll be stunned. And I think everybody around the program would be stunned. So, for whatever reason, they haven't announced, and I don't think they will at this point. I think they will make Bowling Green wait it out because, it's going to matter.
Yeah, exactly. AP, give me a player or two, man, that maybe we have not talked about as much, or you may consider as a breakout player. A lot of freshmen play last year, but didn't get that big time experience, and they'll get that experience, next week. I run through the tee and with the Vol walk, and so maybe a freshman is able to couple that with a great performance. But give me some guys or guy that you feel like names is maybe not household, but we'll have a big game against Bowling Green. Maybe everyone has a good game. Who knows?
Big game. That's hard. I was going to say, if you just guys you've not really probably talked a whole lot about, I would say Aaron Beasley on defense. I think he's going to help me to go play a solid amount of snaps and help the football team. Big game. Who have you not talked about this? When you're on the show every day for 3 hours.
Yeah, man, 15 hours a week. So I feel like we've talked about
you talked about everybody.
Talked about everybody.
Hunter Salmon. I just think Jalen Wright just kind of lays in the weeds, and he is a big play waiting to happen. And I don't know. I just feel like, I may be wrong. It may be somebody else. And this, it's all kind of just guessing at this point. But I just feel like that Jalen Wright is somebody that people are talking about coming out of the Bowling Green game. Because I think Tennessee's going to score, and they're going to score, and they're going to score because Bowling Green's not very good. And so I think Jalen Wright's going to get some touches there, and that, I won't even say he'll get touches early enough, with the ones, but I think then we'll get touches, later in the proceedings when Tennessee's kind of out in front, and I think he can, he's just somebody that people are going to be talking about because he's so electrifying with the ball in his hands because he can run.
Austin, at times this summer and fall camp, we've talked about a quarterback going out and taking the starting quarterback job and not necessarily just being the best of the three, because you could be the best option of the three but still not be playing all that well. Do you think Joe Milton went out and took the starting quarterback job?
I think he has made plenty of plays that would warrant being the starter in fall camp. I've had too many plays described to me, whether it be long runs or, passes, some deep passes, some not deep passes, but just plays he's made and decisions he's made that's helped him. He's not been perfect. I've also, I know he's made some mistakes in fall camp, but others have made more mistakes than he has. So, I think his play has kind of taken the starting job, in my opinion.
Do you think all three quarterbacks will play against Bowling Green?
We got you on the spot, Austin. We got you on the spot today.
I think at least two do, but I think there's a chance they play all three and then go, we still don't have a starter for Pittsburgh.
Hey man, you gotta keep the defense and the opposing team off balance a little bit the best way you can. Even though maybe they don't even take it seriously, it doesn't even matter. But hey, at least you have to feel like you are making an impact if you are the head coach.
Yeah, again, while you and I think it's silly, they think they're doing right by the kids, and that's all that matters. Ultimately, you want to, especially if you're a parent, you want a coach that looks out after your kids and I think this staff, and I'm not knocking any previous staff. I think they all in their own way look after the kids too. But I think that's what this is more than anything, because hey, kids are fragile, man, and you don't think that, but like you just don't want them to go in the tank. Look at the DBs. I think most of what Willie Martinez has done has been building up Warren Burrell, Danico Slaughter, Alante Taylor. Because if you really look back, all three of those guys, especially Burrell and Slaughter, started a game early in their career. They made a mistake, got beat, and all of a sudden they were out, never to be heard from again until there was a coaching change. And so I think that, kind of building them up, and as Willie said, making them understand, hey, you're going to get beat.
Mm-hmm. Part of it.
But you can't let the previous play beat you again. You got to get back up and play confidently and kind of brush all that aside. So, I think that, the coaches are, more than anything looking out for the, all three quarterbacks in this. Again, you and I may not totally understand it, or we may kind of laugh about, it's really going to help you against Bowling Green. But at the end of the day, I think that's the biggest thing they're trying to do is just kind of protect all three. And I think that, over the course of the next few days, if it's not already happened, the guys that aren't the starter will understand why and understand the plan for them going forward.
Good stuff. Good stuff as always, AP. I guess I'll be talking to you a little bit later on. Getting ready for Rivalry Thursday tomorrow there in Maryville. It's going to be a good one. Powell, lots of talent. Number one player in the country in Walter Nolan. And Maryville, man, just probably the most disciplined program in the state of Tennessee over the last decade or two. So it's going to be a good one, man. It's going to be a good matchup. Hope everyone's able to either watch Diamond Clear Media app or listen to the broadcast or watch the broadcast, however way you want to consume the show. I hope people are able to do that and check out a great matchup between two really good programs here in East Tennessee. So, man, looking forward to that. AP, thank you for your time today, all the good insight. And, man, we're a few days away from kickoff. So, AP, thanks, man. Thanks for your time.
Tomorrow's 1 week, Swain. 1 week.
Tomorrow is 1 week.
From your Walter Nolan party. At Walter Nolan night.
Walter Nolan night at Neyland Stadium.
Sponsored by Austin Price.
Hey, man. If Tennessee doesn't have him there, they're missing out. If he don't come, then he's missing out on a golden opportunity to see a night game. The next two are at noon, and noon games are fine. They're games, but they're not night games.
I mean, who wants to miss the light show?
That's a good question. It's going to be fun. Although he's already got his own light show out at Powell.
Yeah. So he's used to it. But it's going to be a little bit different inside Neyland Stadium. So we'll see. We'll see if he has a top 2 after next week's game, or Tennessee's in a top 2. Get George out of there, Walter. You don't want nothing with Curry Smart, man. He ain't gonna do nothing for you. All right, Austin, man. Thanks, man.